Howdy y'all. So I'm gonna try and make this video and get through it. I'm maybe on like 2 hours of sleep. My brother is currently in the process of having his second kid, so I've been up all night sending him memes to de-stress him a little bit. So if I say anything too retarded, just it is what it fucking is, okay? I really don't give a shit at this point. Alright, so today I wanted to do something about education, because it's something near and dear to my heart, and I believe heavily that everyone is a genius. Everyone has the potential to be a genius, but our current education system is a fucking scam. It is a scam, and if you're a teacher or a professor watching this, watch it with an open mind just to understand where I'm coming from, because a lot of this structure that we have was designed hundreds of years ago. I mean, we've had it going back thousands of years, but it's really gotten bad with the Rockefellers, right? There's a quote that I really like, and I don't think this is actually confirmed, but it fits the bill pretty nicely. He says, "I don't want a nation full of thinkers. I want a nation of factory workers." And looking back on my college experience, my high school experience, middle school, elementary, that makes sense. Because when I was a little kid, I dreamed of mystical things. Dragons, going to outer space, all these cool space shuttles, and, you know, universal energy, and like all these crazy concepts. And then the second I got to school, they told me, "Oh no, you're too old for that now. You have to stop dreaming. You have to grow up. And you have to just learn these basic, like, 2 + 2 bullshit, and all this English and science and crap." And the whole time, I just sat there and shut up and I took it. I was a good boy when I was in school. I made a lot of mistakes. I was one of those chaotic sort of students. However, when it came to just taking their tests, it's a fucking test. I set the curve everywhere I went. But that's not a good thing. That makes you a sheep nowadays. So I want to get into why following the exact plan that they've set out for us is not a good thing. Do not go to school just to get A's. Go to school to expand your consciousness. That's what I want to get after. Because otherwise, I don't want you to end up like I was. You know, I'm slurring my words because the passion, it's going to start coming out. Because for fucking years, I did things that I hated. I did things that I saw as corrupt. And you know what? The whole time, people just looked at me and said, "Oh yeah, but you know what? You're making money. So that's good, right? That's all that matters. Not your morals. Not what you actually are passionate about. Not your dreams. No. The point of life is to graduate from college, right? So you can get a high-paying job. So then one day you can maybe retire." And I was like, what? That's fucking stupid. It doesn't make sense. So let's get going on why this is all a scam. Firstly, I want to start off by saying we learn programming in school. We don't learn independence. Think about the first time you ever went to school. You have to show up at a certain time. There's usually ordered seating within the class, so you have to sit in the same spot. You have to raise your hand to ask to go to the bathroom. You only get a set amount of time to take tests, which is not true for real life. You know, sometimes it takes people longer to do things, sometimes shorter. But they do all of this to put people in boxes. It's a great way to segment out the troublemakers from the ones that are going to be very good sheep one day working in the factories, right? The goody two-shoes kids. Whereas the beauty of life is, as you age, you realize those little rascals, those kids that probably got straight C's in high school, the ones that dropped out of college, they're the ones that actually run all the companies, right? Because they realized it was bullshit, and they woke up and they said, nope, nah. If we do things the same way over and over and over, we're gonna get the same results. I don't know about you, the results I'm seeing suck ass. So if we keep doing that same shit, our kids are gonna keep getting dumber. And then you sprinkle AI and the advent of higher technologies on top of that, and we are screwed if we do not wake up. And I genuinely do not want to see a future where the younger generation loses all will to educate themselves, any desire to become better, because they're just so apathetic about the system. I mean, why would you read books in the future when you can just have an AI do all of your thinking for you? Isn't that the ultimate goal of like Elon Musk, which is Lex Luthor, and the Neuralink program? I mean, they basically want to splice us in with computers so that we, as human beings, never have to use our own consciousness again. We don't have to do any thinking, because within that thinking, that's where our greatness lies. Because before we were programmed to understand that we were a human being, like before I knew that I was Brian, before I knew that I was a little boy, before I knew that I had parents, before any of that, there was an awareness of being. And within that awareness of being, within that level of consciousness, lies the secrets of the universe. That is where your gifts are. And you can tap into it if you choose to, if you try to, if you start asking yourself the questions on the inside. But going back to my first point, because this is going to turn into a rant, they don't want you thinking. They really don't want you asking yourself questions. They genuinely just want you to sit down, shut the fuck up, and do as you're told. All right? To be a good little factory worker. And then by the end of it, they're going to steal a bunch of money from you via tuition for college, which is a complete scam. You can learn literally anything for free. It's called YouTube. Or just books in general. You don't need to pay $40,000 to go off to school to then get a piece of paper to say, oh, well, you know everything now, because that's the trap. The piece of paper is the trap. They're saying, no, you got it all. You got the degree. You're the expert now. So now you're better than these other people, and that cuts you off from needing to ask yourself more questions. You already think you're at the top. If you're already at the top, you think that lion at the top of the hill is as hungry as the one that has to climb up the top? No, they're not. And they never will be. The person that constantly seeks new knowledge, new ways of thought, new ways of being will always be the victor of the future. And right now, they're basically programming all of society across the board to just be content, right? They want you to go to school. They want you to feel good about yourself. And I'm not shitting on people that go to school. Obviously, there are some degrees that you probably should go use higher educations for. However, I still think it's a scam. Okay? Because there's a lot of them where you can learn it outside. Especially in my case, I did taxes. Do you know how much I learned in school that was actually applicable to the job? Maybe 2%. Maybe. I got my ass creamed, bro. That sounded kind of gay. But the second I started working, it was nothing like school. Nothing at all. And then even after taxes, when I went into logistics, I thought to myself, well, I've done cost accounting before. This should make sense. Nope. Really didn't have anything to do with it. And then even still with housing, absolutely nothing to do with it. You learn almost everything on the job, but even then, you would learn it a million times better if you just went to the job in the first place. Like, I'm sorry, but what do we even have universities for? Other than some of these like high level degrees where you need straight up labs and research institutions to do them. But like philosophy degrees? Yo, go read some Nietzsche. Go read some Jung. Alright? Just go. You don't need to be told what to do. You already have those answers within you. You always have. But it's the scam of, hey, you're going to just read this, and this, and then I'm going to give you a piece of paper that certifies that you know everything about this subject, right? It's like a call of ethos, that piece of paper, to the people, and we eat it up. We eat it up. I ate it up. I'm sure most of you watching this ate it up. But it's time we got to wake up, because right now, we got to save this younger generation. Like I started off with, I will happily fucking get killed by those families before I let my nephews, which I have a 3-year-old and a newly born, go to schools and lose their fucking dreams. and get programmed to just be some factory worker. Fuck no. These kids are geniuses, and they are the ones that should be running the countries as soon as possible. Not these like 60, 70, 80-year-old politicians with tens of millions of dollars because of all the fucking dirty ass loans and you know, charity money that they take from these lobbyists. I mean, it's disgusting. We need to change, and the whole system has to be upheavaled, thrown out, and redone. It is what it is, baby. But we got to do it for the kids. We have to embrace higher thinking, and we have to embrace being a black sheep and being different. Being different is good. It is beautiful. Step into it. That is your uniqueness. No one can take that from you. They can try, but they can't take it from you. And believe me, we all want to experience it. We all want to see it. Whatever you're best at, we want to see it. So, next, I'm going to talk about your self-worth being linked to grades, and grades are irrespective of what you are actually consciously thinking about. So what do I mean by that? Well, when you go to school, I don't know about you guys, but I had a few instances where I had professors where I would get marked off on papers or tests because I would answer a question, usually long form written questions, differently than what they taught in the class. Even if it was the right answer, I would get points marked off. So, are the grades actually, is there any correlation between the grades you get and the answer and the thought that goes into it? Or is it really just a, you need to do what I tell you? And I'm thinking it's more so the, do what I fucking tell you, or you're gonna get a B, C, D, E, or F. E. EA Sports. It's in the game. Yeah, so basically throughout time, if you answer a question differently than what you're taught in school, you will be put into a box. You will be a mischievous kid. You'll go to the principal's office or be like, hey, stop that. We don't do thinking here. You have to answer the questions as told. Now, I want you guys to really understand this. If everyone does exactly as they're told, and all the kids around the world are all, not around the world, but in the United States, are all learning the exact same curriculum, you're creating an army of robot factory workers. Whether you want to admit it or not, you're creating a homogenous society of youth that all thinks the exact way, same way. And you know who's teaching them? The fuckers who are blowing up this country right now. The older generation is the problem, okay? Obviously, we are all the problem because we all need to learn how to work together. However, the systems that we are now playing with, that we have been playing with and abiding by, were created by an older generation. An older generation that's propagated this lie that you, to unlock that good life, need to go to school, need to do all this, get a 9 to 5, and then you blah, 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 blah. That's not really a thing anymore. The 9 to 5 American dream is kind of dying, and it died with hyperinflation and a bunch of other bullshit. So people need to find what truly makes them happy, because going to school just to get a piece of paper is not going to make you happy. Working for somebody else's dreams your entire life for a pittance of money is not going to make you happy. It's not. I mean, you can try. I mean, if you don't have a soul, sure, go ahead. I doubt you're going to be watching this channel, but go work for Wall Street if you don't have a soul. I don't give a fuck. Go be a banker. But for most people, they don't want to work for somebody else their entire life. There is something deep down within them that they would love to do for the rest of their life. And believe me, if there's something you love to do, there is plenty of money around it. You will be able to make an income and live a very good life. Not to mention you'd enjoy yourself the entire way. But we don't teach that in schools. We don't ask kids anymore what their dreams are. We just ask them what they got on that last test. I mean, even when I was growing up, my parents, I love them to death, they didn't ask me what my dreams were. After I started going to school, they were like, oh, so what do you want to be? Do you want to be a doctor? Do you want to be a lawyer? Right? It was always the highest paying professions. That's what my parents always wanted. They were like, oh yeah, go do this and go do that. And then I would always be like, well, why can't I own a business like you, Mom? She's like, you're not smart enough. Like, it's programming from the top, and a lot of it's narcissistic programming, especially with teachers. You know that saying where, if you can't do, teach? It is kind of true. I mean, like, most of the time, teachers probably have dreams, but they're unwilling to chase them. And sometimes some of them may be narcissistic due to their own lack of ability to stick it through and punch in that goal that they wanted, that dream that they had, that they're now going to shoot down other people's dreams. Because if they couldn't do it, then you can't do it. And I'm going to be sitting here every fucking day for the rest of eternity to tell you guys, yes, you can. If you can see it, you can achieve it, and do not listen to these cocksuckers in school that are trying to put you in a box. You are a human being. You are a creator, and anything that you want, anything that you desire, if you want it enough, it is yours. It is always gonna be yours. Okay? And then, moving down, one of the sickest things is the class rank. I think this is the way that they set it in. This hits around high school age to college. So you have class rank, you have curves. And the dangerous thing about this is it assigns value to an individual just based off their grades. And we discussed before that your grades simply are a metric of how good you're able to just sit down, shut up, and do exactly what you're told. So that means the people that are on the top of the class, right, the ones that set the curve, are the ones that think usually the least. Okay? Unless they're chasing their passion and like they want to be the best scientist ever in the world, then yeah, probably go to school. But if you're like a regular kid where you go off to these schools and you eat up the lie where you're like, oh yeah, I don't know what I want to do, so I'm just going to go off to college. And you're like, okay, have fun paying $40,000 to not know what you want to do at an institution that will happily take your money for as long as humanly possible, but will never actually guide you to your dreams. They'll guide you to a job interview, but never to your dreams. Okay? So it is really sinister, the whole idea of class rank and how it really excludes those sort of mischievous individuals, those bad boys, the black sheep, the ones that look at a box and say, well, I don't like that box, I'd rather set it on fire. I like those type of kids, because that's where the change is going to come from. But the sinister thing is, they keep putting them at the bottom of the fucking curve, the bottom of the class rank, because they refuse to do what you tell them to do. They don't agree. And we're marking these kids off because they have disagreements. We should be giving them extra fucking credit. Standing up for what you believe in as a little kid, good on you. Good on you. Fight back. Tell your teachers you don't agree. Tell them there has to be a better way. Tell them that that's stupid, that's wrong. Question them. That's the whole beauty of education, is it not? To question everything? Go back to Socrates. It's the ultimate goal of humanity to find the truth. The all truth. Just the truth. That is the best thing you could possibly find. What is the truth of this situation? What is my truth? What is your truth? What is the truth of this universe? Start asking these questions. And we've lost this ability through time because we've just been nibbling up this bullshit dream that they keep shoving it down our throat, that we need them. That we need these $60,000 degrees and schools and all this bullshit. And it's all lies. It is all lies. So I know I'm going to piss off a lot of people that got degrees. Trust me, guys, I wasted a bunch of money too getting my degree. So, I mean, it is what it is. But we have to change it, right? We can't just sit there and be like, oh, well, I did it, so they have to do it too, right? Do you guys see the issue we're having in society with all these student loans and kids can't pay for school, yet they don't even get a degree in something that they want, but they feel obligated to go, otherwise they're an outcast? We have to fix that part of culture. I mean, like, we only usually talk about, like, racism or segregation, right? Of whether it be like black and white and brown, that type of thing. But what about like segregation based off of like diplomas? That is a very real thing. Like blue collar workers are some of the most amazing human beings on the planet. They're trustworthy. They're great people. They will do the extra mile for you, and they genuinely enjoy doing it. When I was working in construction, some of the nicest people I ever dealt with were the plumbers, the electricians, and carpenters, okay? Like, they didn't have a college degree, but you don't judge somebody based off their ability to get a slip of paper at a school, right? It's just disgusting. And the real reason that we even have those degrees is that's just a way that they can gatekeep poor kids from getting into higher companies. All right? Because most of these high firepower companies require a degree. Who is it exceptionally hard for to get a degree? Oh, I don't know, disenfranchised communities like the minority community. But we'll save that one maybe for another time, and how racist our system is. And then finally, I just want to leave this off with something that I realized when I was, 18, and I realized, and this is after I got to college, right? So I started bio pre-med, didn't go so hot I went into a cadaver lab, right? This is like the first semester, I want to say it was week 2. We were right next to a hospital, we went over to a cadaver lab. I started bio pre-med and I wanted to be an anesthesiologist. And then this crazy bitch, I'll never forget this shit. In this lab, there's this dead guy, I don't know what he passed of, but she is just yanking his fucking intestines around. Like, I'm not kidding, like pulling them out and like squeezing things out of them, and zero emotion, zero feeling. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. So I switched and I went to taxes. And then the second I got into taxes, I had this lovely older lady that got me to switch, Mrs. Fitzgibbons. And she gave me one of the biggest truth bombs I think I ever heard in my life. She's like, you know what's funny? Is the second you turn 18, they expect you to pay taxes, but they'll never fucking teach you how. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, what? But I'm gonna be in the tax department. She's like, yeah, you're going to university to get a degree in taxes. But other than that class, when will they ever teach you how to pay taxes? And I was like, whoa, you're right. And there's a lot of things in life that they will never teach you, but they will hold you accountable to, right? They expect us to learn all the things, all the bullshit games that they like to play, and just to have to play by their rules, because they're not going to teach us about them when we're young. Because when we're young, we have the conscious thought and all those juices to say, you know what, that doesn't make sense. Like if somebody told me when I was 18 about Social Security, I would have laughed in their face and said, what dumbass decided that was a good idea? Because if the regular market can move 8% on average per year, and it's actually gaining value, why wouldn't we just mandate people have to put some of their paycheck into their own traditional IRA up to a cap of $6,500 per year? Or they have to put a contribution, let's say a percentage point, into a 401k if their company offers it. Mandate it, right? Because that's the same thing. And people hate the word mandate, but it's the exact same thing as Social Security, right? So guys, we have to start asking our questions. And by the way, Social Security is a scam. I'm going to deal with it eventually, but we'll see. Yeah, so I'm probably going to leave this one off. I know this one was definitely like a fever dream. I'm sweating like a fucking stuck pig. It is 90 degrees, 1 hour of sleep, and I'm probably on my 5th cup of coffee, and it's 6 in the goddamn morning. God bless America. Love you guys. Have a good one.